It's gonna be a long day. Got the kid with me today. Can't play super hot. This is Aceville from Brooklyn. That's Harmony, the game cat. Wow. Oh, she's like 15 years old. And you're watching Viewer Takeover.
This is Viewer Takeover, where we film every week, and then we bring it to you the day after we film, because, I don't know, we're way off schedule this week.
Yep.
I've been sick. Des is a professional now, and we do what we can when we can, and this is Viewer Takeover, where we answer all your comments and your questions, probably not in the order of importance, or any kind of order at all.
Yep. We pick the ones we like and answer those.
As always, I'm Brian Paul. This is Desiree the Strange.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about some video games. Welcome to PSVR Everything. That's what we do here. First up,
concise. I like it.
That's right. First up, we want to thank a very important person, the person who introduced this show. That was Aceville with his Viewer Takeover introduction.
Very cool. How did I not know you were from Brooklyn, man? That's fantastic.
And we've talked so many times.
I know. Very cool.
Yeah.
And I'm digging the Spider-Man skin on the PlayStation.
This is what I love about Viewer Takeover introductions.
Yeah.
Right? Because we didn't actually even see Aceville. Right, but we heard him.
Yep.
We saw bits of his life everywhere, like Aiden the kid, and, and then the cat. Adorable, and he's like a dude with this like Brooklyn accent.
Yeah.
And he meowed, which was like adorable. It's like, this is what I live for. I convert like men into puppies.
Yep.
That sounds really weird.
Puppies?
Game cats.
Oh, right.
Game cats and puppies are all the same thing. If you want to introduce next week's Viewer Takeover, I think you might actually be able to do that. So send your short, sweet, simple, seductive...
salty.
That's good too. Yeah, let's do salty.
Actually, no, salty means bad now, doesn't it?
Well, yeah. I mean, in terms of sweet and savory and salty, it could be very tasty.
Spicy.
It's withoutparole@gmail.com. That is a Gmail address. Keep it short, keep it simple, keep it, I don't know, about 50K, because that's about all I can handle in my inbox these days. But obviously, Aceville isn't the only person we want to thank, is he?
No, we want to thank all these wonderful people down here. These are, of course, the fluffiest of the fluffy, the folks who have actually spent their good, hard-earned money to keep the show on the air. And this and all the other content bringing on the channel, these are our Patreon supporters. So these guys down here.
They're the ones who went to patreon.com/withoutparole.
Games.
And they're giving us $1 or more every single month. Basically, it's a subscription kind of service. You basically put in your credit card, social security, mother's maiden name, and then for just literally $1 or more every single month, we give you exclusive access, behind the scenes content. Also, your name goes on the scroll down here if you want it. But the channel technically costs more to run every month than it makes. Just FYI.
Yeah.
So if you love what we're doing, please support us. Please consider supporting us. We will absolutely love you for the rest of your lives.
So
and I'm not going to say the rest of my life, because I think that's significantly shorter than the rest of yours. I'm just, I want, like,
that's fair.
One day they're going to be like, oh, he's like Nostradamus. How did you know?
Well, they're young and hip, and we're not.
Yeah, whatever. We'll get to that. That's one of the questions. As we said, Game Cats are the loyal following of Without Parole, and so a lot of people have taken it upon themselves to change their name on YouTube, on Google, to something the Game Cat, which we absolutely love, and we want to recognize those people that did that for us this week. So who changed your name? Having a stroke does to Game Cat this week.
So this week we have Gregory the Game Cat.
You know, I don't know a lot of Gregorys in this world. But
here comes Gregory, little Gregory Peckery.
And I have very few siblings in this world. Yeah, I only have one, in fact. His name is Gregory. So it's a near and dear name to my heart.
Oh, this isn't him though.
As far as I know, it's not. Okay. But as I've told everybody, I really think that now that my mom's retired, all she does is sit home and create YouTube accounts and then subscribes to our channel just to make me feel better. It's like, it says there's 41,000 subscribers. Yeah. 40 and a half of those are my mom. God only knows how she figured out how to use YouTube.
So next up we have Tubumafu the Game Cat.
What is Zubumafu?
Zubumafu was the lemur from the eponymous show Zubumafu, which was the second, I think, maybe third show to feature the Kratz brothers. So there was the Kratz Critters, or Kratz Creatures, Zaboomafoo, and now there's the animated Wild Kratz.
Have anything to do with iCarly?
Not that I'm aware
then
of.
I don't care. And then next up,
We have Tim the Game Cat.
I love when they keep it simple.
Tim.
It's Tim.
But you may call me Tim.
Love it.
Next we have Scotty the Game Cat.
Formerly Scotty Productions. I don't know if you remember seeing that.
Oh, yeah.
I love it because, anytime you see somebody who has like their own thing going on, like Scotty Productions, obviously he was doing something on his own, different. He cared enough to like ditch the productions and be like
That's
Scotty
cool.
the Game Cat.
And make his own brand take a hit to promote our brand. That's pretty cool.
I gotta go check out his channel and see if it's still up and running or not, or
That's
if it's
awesome.
just like okay. And then finally,
Don't call it comeback.
the hashtag Game Cat.
Hey.
It's hotcakes.
It's with a comeback, so aptly named.
Don't call it a comeback.
He's been
back.
here for years.
Yeah, absolutely. He and I, all I do with hotcakes all day, every day, is fight. That's all we do. he leaves a comment that totally goes in the face of something that I said on the channel, and then I respond to it, and then he goes, "I was just joking," and then I go, "I don't have a sense of humor," and then we both laugh, and then I go, slip my wrists.
Now, what'd you change your name to this week?
Yeah.
And so, if you want us to read your name on this wonderful section, wow,
It's
my brain
called
just
Viewer Takeover.
totally stopped.
Yeah, we've been filming for 7 hours. I'm sorry, Des. I apologize.
Just make sure you either leave in the comments with hashtag GameCat
Yeah.
or on the Discord, anywhere you can leave a comment for us. Just put hashtag GameCat so we know to find your name.
Yeah, hashtag GameCat in the comments below. Also, if you want to be part of Viewer Takeover, the show that we're doing right now that Des just got the name of, make sure that in the comments below you leave your comment or your question with the hashtag Viewer Takeover, all one word, or even better, you join our Discord server and then go to the Viewer Takeover channel in our Discord server. It sounds complicated. If you're like, under 40 years old and probably haven't used Discord before, it's way easier than you think it is.
Yeah. I'm over 40 and I can use it.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It's like, I'm pretty much there. So, let's answer some Viewer Takeover questions this week. First up, it comes from Billy Paw.
Billy Paul.
Do I read the first one? I think I read the first one.
Whatever.
He wrote it on
PSVR this week.
PSVR this week, just earlier today. Our good friend Billy Paw. He says, even without a Sony press conference at E3, this was a pretty awesome week for PlayStation VR. The Walking Dead looks a little underwhelming, but I'm hopeful for Espire 1. It's my new, most anticipated PlayStation VR game. What were the highlights for you guys? Hashtag Viewer Takeover.
I'm going to jump right on that Espire 1.
Yeah.
I mean, we've mentioned a few times, like, what games do you want to see in VR? Deus Ex was one of my favorite games of all time, the original, and just there's something about the stealth combat that just had that Deus Ex feel to me. I love it. Stealth combat in VR. Sign me up, coach.
It's being published by the Killing Floor Incursion guys.
Okay.
So Tripwire. But as far as the trailers have said, as far as like the announcement trailers, they worked really closely with Tripwire. They're saying that those guys they're not just treating them like a publisher.
Yeah.
Like they actually like worked with them on the development process. So it's like, we should have faith in these guys, but again, still unproven. Very, very curious.
Yeah.
This is a strange stance to take on because we saw so many cool things. As Billy Paw said, we saw the Walking Dead footage for the first time. It also got announced for PlayStation VR in a very strange way. But like the fact is, it is coming but it looks like, I don't know. It looks like the most generic game Survios has made so far.
Yeah.
And I just want to hold on to faith that like it is gonna be a good Survios game.
Yeah, it's zombies. Moving on.
But
I know people love zombies, but
love. I mean, but we love Survios.
We do love Survios
Right?
very, very much.
So this is going to be strange because although we've got a bunch of amazing announcements, the thing that I thought was coolest, and maybe it's just the collector in me coming out, or maybe it's maybe it's seeing companies that like just want PlayStation VR and VR as a whole to succeed. But man, Perp Games, killing it as far as physical releases go, right? They announced that they're, obviously they're doing Sirento's release that's coming out, in July. But they're also doing Pixel Ripped 1989.
Who would ever thought you'd do a Pixel Ripped physical release?
And for the sequel.
Yep.
Right? So, I mean, like, so they're killing it on those fronts. And then they were like, oh, and by the way, we're also releasing Golem. I was like, oh, that's awesome. So Golem's still a thing.
Did you notice, though, the stunning lack of a date?
Yeah. No, I actually went on their Twitter account and made fun of them for that. But yeah, no, like, but the fact that Golem is still coming,
Yep.
the fact that they're releasing all these games physically, because, and I think, obviously we're coming at this from a unique perspective.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of people out there be like, who the fuck cares about these games that are, already out or coming out that we're going to buy digitally anyway? I get so many comments from people asking, is this game going to come out on disc? Is this game going to come out on disc? Is this game going to come out on disc? And you know who you are, Shunmu. So you ask all the time, and I always go, God, I hope so, because I'm a physical collector, if you couldn't tell. And I'd always rather have my PSVR games physically. So it's so awesome to see perp games like doubling down on PSVR and like in such a big way.
Yeah.
So I mean that's I don't want to say those are my highlights.
Yeah.
Because
I got to throw out, I Expect You to Die.
oh my God.
we kind of knew there was DLC coming at some point, but
It's coming soon.
it's coming soon. It looks amazing. It was actually, I was like, oh, because I didn't watch it live.
Yeah.
I just saw it. I'm like, nope, pause, skip. I don't want to see anything else.
And it's free.
And it's free.
It's free.
What?
Right. Like,
Yes, I mean,
because the first class DLC
that was also free.
huge.
Yes.
Right. It was like such
was
a
nuts.
huge
Yep.
expansion, and then here we are. There's no way they're gonna make like, oh, this is gonna be a tiny little level.
Yep.
Right. So like oh man.
I don't. They just like break all the rules of the. I want to grab all the PR developers and just have them sit in shell studios for like a week and a half and just get whatever magic is happening there onto them, because it just releases finished and polished and amazing,
So
and then
good.
free DLC comes out that's even better than the stuff that came out before, and the price hasn't gone up. It's just anyways,
Obviously, they know it's working.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a risk most developers want to take. Most
Yeah.
developers are like, we want to, or maybe it has something to do with the publishers a lot of the time too. I think, like, how can we milk these people for a little bit more money?
Yeah.
And I think Shell Games knows how to milk us for more money. They go, we're going to give you some free DLC to make it more, give you a bigger incentive to buy the game if you haven't yet.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I mean, if there's anybody out there who hasn't bought I Expect You to Die yet, you're crazy.
And the only one I also want to throw out that may have like missed most people's interest, because what the hell is Space Team? If you haven't played the Space Team, there was a mobile game. There's also a card game, which is what I've played. Space Team in VR, it really stands to be like the next kind of Werewolves Within, but crazy frenetic action.
Nice.
Like the way Space Team is played, which it's weird. Like the trailer really didn't show much of that. I think it's a shame. You basically,
I haven't even seen this trailer yet. I'm gonna have to look it up.
Okay. It was just the little bit of the action that I think they showed during the. Anyways, you have a stack of cards with basically like these pictures of imaginary spaceship parts and these imaginary names.
Okay.
Okay. And then there's basically a stack of kind of like problems or mishaps or mistakes, and you flip that over, and everyone is playing at the same time. Is like, oh, actually, no, I'm sorry, we all have our own stack of problems. I flip over and like, oh, I need a red shifter blue thing. I'm like, well, I don't have it. And you basically like are trying to grab it from other people and work with them, but it's all happening quickly at the same time. So it's just this frenetic, crazy, like social grabbing game. We've got the card game at home, and it's just insane.
Nice.
So if they
Was this confirmed for PSVR?
yeah, this is on Upload VR, all major VR platforms.
That's awesome. That's
So
glad to hear.
it's really just kind of like they threw it away. But I want to point that out. If they manage to capture the feeling of what it's like to play this live in social VR, it's going to be crazy fun.
Nice. Yeah, the last thing I want to say is, we basically just said, that like we're not yet excited for The Walking Dead Onslaught, because I think maybe it just looks too early in development to really tell what kind of game it's going to be. Because right now they showed a lot of melee attacks and just like dumb shooting. Very few stages, like kind of like one core stage. So it's hard to get excited about it. But I'm sure it's going to be amazing by the time it comes out.
Yeah.
The game that already looks amazing is Battle Wake. Is like their ship combat game.
There we go. Yeah,
Holy
that's
crap.
service. And although I looked at that, I'm like, oh, I don't know if Dez is going to play this, because what was that other the floating pirate ship battle thing?
Bout of Blood.
Bout of Blood.
So good.
I could not play that a second of that, and I saw this.
Understandably.
Yeah, and I saw this. I'm like, oh man, Survios, I love you, and this game looks amazing, and I hope you figure something out, because I mean, I could do Sprint Vector.
I mean,
So
if anyone can do it,
Yeah.
Survios can.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the ship-to-ship combat looks amazing. From what I remember of the original press release, it has like a huge single-player campaign, which I'm like, sweet.
Yeah.
Because as much as I love competing against my friends and blowing them up, there's a big part of me that just loves going, turn it all off.
Yep.
And like, like bring it all in and like put my headphones on, put my headset on, and just alone time, me and a big ship,
Yeah.
and a bunch of weather.
Yeah.
It looks amazing. I can't wait to check that out. But we should probably move on.
All right, moving on. We have
right.
Mark the Game to the Power of Cat.
Oh, is that what that is? To the power up?
Well, that's
There's also an exclamation point.
right. Exclamation point.
Yeah.
On the Discord channel, hashtag viewer takeover like a pro. Billy Paw. Hey guys, loving the show. Meow. Pretty recent PSVR owner, but I'm an older guy, 37.
Did he just call himself an older guy at 37? We've got you beat, buddy.
With a 3-year-old. Okay, 37 with a 3-year-old. Now I understand why you feel so old.
Now you've got me beat.
Who keeps me busy. I bought a bunch of highly recommended titles, but feeling too tired sometimes to even play VR games. Any tips on how to increase motivation to hop into VR over pancake games on a more regular basis? First of all, you have a 3-year-old. You're going to be exhausted for the next
15 years.
Well, not 15. You're going to have a little bit of a downplay when they hit like 10 or so, and then it's going to get awful again. So, yeah, I mean, your exhaustion may not be just from games, but that being said, I totally understand. There's a lot of times like, I want to play something, but really I have to drag out the PSVR. You guys used to make fun of me at the beginning because I did have everything put away and I had to pull all the wires out and plug it all in. And that definitely, it sounds like it's not a big deal, but it really is.
No, that would be a huge deal for me.
Yeah.
That would actually be a deal breaker for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm lazy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm like, I just want to pick something up and start playing.
Right.
And that's why my PlayStation VR headset is like sitting on my couch. It's not even in a case or anything.
Yeah.
It's just sitting on my couch. And so like I sit down, I turn on my controller, I put on the headset, I push a button, I'm in a game.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Like, I totally understand with a small kid around the house, the last thing you want to leave lying around is a $300 piece of hardware. Yeah. So, yeah, it's doing what you can to keep as much of the setup out as possible can help with that. But the other hand, man, games are supposed to be fun. I think at the end of the day, and like I love VR games. I almost play exclusive VR. Well, VR and now Elder Scrolls Legends on my phone. That's pretty much all I'm playing now. But it's supposed to be fun. And if you feel like this is such a chore, don't do it, man. Play the flat games. There is no shame in playing what you want to play.
Yeah, and I as somebody who's been suffering from various forms of exhaustion, not because of a 3-year-old, just because I'm crazy. I think that something that I realized recently is that, sometimes you're like, man, I don't want to get out of bed right now, right? And so, like, the thought of putting on a VR headset, if your eyes feel tired and you don't want to, like, have some screens close to your eyes. The funny thing is it always seems like such a horrible idea when you're tired. And then you drop into a game and you're like, I forgot how much fun this was. Yeah. Like, so make sure that you're playing a game that you enjoy because, as Des said, they're supposed to be fun. But also, like, if you don't feel like, if you're like, I don't want to be swinging my arms, don't be playing Box VR, don't be playing Beat Saber, but you're tired, you can totally get an awesome gaming experience by kicking back with the DualShock 4 in VR still.
Static?
Borderlands? Resident Evil 7? I know that's like a heart, it makes your heart pound, or makes my heart pound. Des is bored, of course. but that's totally like it doesn't take any more work to sit back on your couch and play Resident Evil 7 in VR than it does to play a flat screen game because you're just like sitting there.
Right. So. I would say, there's no like, I should be playing this. Do what you want. And I will say, you know what? To put all this in perspective, hey, if that's the worst of your problems in life, man, you're doing something right. Yeah. Yeah. So,
also, I'm going to say, same holds true for like if you've got a big backlog of games. So many people are like, man, I don't want to go buy this new game because I've got all these other games I haven't finished. Yeah. Why haven't you finished them yet? I love asking people that question and saying, are you really that into them? Or did you try them and go, this wasn't for me? Mm-hmm. Because it's okay to move along. It's so many people get hung up and get stressed out over the fact that they have so many games they haven't beaten. Yeah. But like, you probably would have beaten them if you really cared. I know having a 3-year-old changes things.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But like, keep that in mind. Like, be like, did I really enjoy this game, or am I only playing it so that I can say I beat it?
I remember the first moment I realized I didn't have to finish a book. I was just, and this thing was like, all right, this is crap. I never
realized that. I've never finished a book.
But it's the same thing with games. Like, oh man, I don't want to. Don't finish it. Okay, you paid for it. It wasn't great. Move on with your life. Yeah. All right.
I'm up, Asia. Horny Bandicoot. I guess I don't read names of people when I copy and paste these. From our Discord server, writes #viewer takeover.
Like a pro.
You know what's up. You guys have been on PSVR since day one. You're pretty close.
I'm 6 months out.
Have you experienced VR burnout? If yes, how did you handle it? Can we get a definition of VR burnout?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're in a slightly different situation than most folks.
Yeah.
Like most normal people, they get to play the games they want to play, and
What's that like?
yeah, and it stops there. And this is so. It sounds like I'm complaining, and is a really awful thing to complain about. But it's like, yeah, we have, especially this guy. I'll let you take it in a moment. We have to play games we don't like. I think, and it's
almost constantly.
Yeah. And that's kind of what we do. That's what we signed on for. That's kind of something I enjoy being able to do for you folks. We play the crap, so you don't have to. But yeah, it is. For me, like when I'm sitting there playing a garbage game, what I do remember is like, oh, right now we get to talk about this, and I get to, because I'm putting myself through this, I get to stop you folks from having to do it. So that's what kind of gets me through the burnout. But other than that, just like, if I get to play a game I like to play, I still have not experienced this burnout you speak of.
I'm curious about what the burnout is, right? Mm-hmm. And I've narrowed it down to a few different things. Because I do think that there is a level of physical burnout where it's where like you have these lenses that are close to your eyes, and they do say that when you're in VR you don't blink as often, and you're not looking left and right, you're turning your head more, right? So you're like, and you are like, what you're doing with your eyes isn't natural, right? It's also making you focus on something that doesn't exist, right? So yeah, there's all sorts of things that'll change, but right now we're dealing with V1 generation 1 VR hardware, and like, I mean, I definitely suffer from eye strain. So like, I've suffered from VR burnout, being like, man, I don't know if I can even put the thing on today because like I've got like a headache and my eyes hurt and blah blah blah. So there's that physical side of things, but then there's also like, I think maybe the bigger issue at hand, which is when people say, I'm sick of VR because it doesn't have the AAA experiences I'm looking for. It doesn't have, but I get it. A lot of people, when they buy it, they go, this is what I'm looking for. I want to play every single new game, in VR. Yeah. And then they get a little disappointed to see that, a lot of the games that are coming out are $10, $15, $20, $30 games, and they're not, the new big AAA game. Right. And so that could be a burnout as well, when you're like, like I just want something meaty. I want something like big and epic and something that I can like live in and like spend hundreds of hours in.
Skyrim.
Right. But there's not a lot of Skyrims out there currently. Yeah. So it's like there's Skyrim, and then there's like 3 other games, and then you're like, well, where's the rest of these things? So I understand that too. But if that is the question, if that's even remotely part of your question, then my answer is, get more experimental. Check out games that you never would have checked out before. Just because it doesn't sound like something you like, check out some of our reviews. Check out some of our review discussions if you're really unsure about it. And take some more risks, because what VR does better than anything else is makes things more fun that you would never expect to be fun. Yeah.
And again, I've said this before, but we're still on the bleeding edge of this technology. Like, things are, and that's what's exciting about it, is because things are so, and because, I know everyone wants the big AAA experiences, but because we don't have those right now, there's not as much pressure for, like, a game doesn't have to make 30 million sales in the first week. They can afford to be more experimental. Indie games have more of a chance to make an impact. Let's not forget, Beat Saber was an indie game, or is an indie game.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, one of the things that I find most exciting about VR is it's not the same cookie cutter AAA experiences over and over again. So, yeah.
So let us know what you meant by VR burnout. Hopefully we answered your question, but if not, hopefully we answered a bunch of other people's questions. And then finally,
oh yes, we have Dark Cool 33111 or 33,111, which is, I'm sure, what he meant. This is
He's 31 years old and loves 311.
Ooh,
I don't know.
Hashtag viewer takeover. After watching the Why We Love the Wizards video and noticing the many comparisons to the Mage's Tale, I think the channel would benefit from some compare and contrast videos between similar games, like Wipeout versus Radial G, Arizona Sunshine versus Killing Floor Incursion, etc.
Boy, I can make this easy.
Yeah.
Wipeout and Killing Floor.
Yeah. All right.
Done.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Bye.
No. So the funny thing is, is that, again, sirens on our end. You're
Sound
not getting
the
pulled
police.
over. You very well could be getting pulled over, but that would be very coincidental.
It's
So
probably because you're watching the freaking video while you're driving.
possibly stop that.
Don't do that.
Maybe, and if your kids are watching it while you're driving, tell them to stop. We swear way too fucking much. Listen, the funny thing is he mentions that on our Wizards episode, we were comparing things to Mage's Tale. The funny thing about that is that you haven't played the Mage's Tale yet.
I have not.
Right. So I was making comparisons. And so we were talking on the Litterbox episode this week or last week or whenever the hell it airs. We have no idea.
Yeah.
But Des has a new job and blah, 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 blah. And all sorts of things are changing. And he really only has time to play like maybe one game a week for the channel.
Right.
At best. Right. So to be like, hey, Des, can you play 2 games for the channel? And then we're going to like have an episode where we compare them. You know, it gets really messy.
We do have a backlog of these games that we could go back into, you know.
True.
But here's the question. Do you want to see us rehashing stuff we've already talked about?
Yeah.
Now, if it's in the context of this compare and contrast, or like, you know, the episodes that will be coming out soon, kind of themed, I think there can be a place for that. But, yeah. So I don't know.
And also, you know,
What do you want?
And also, you know, I took this as, hey, you could do this with Why We Love. But also, obviously, we have many formats on this channel. Like we have, you know, the live games cast. We have, you know, this viewer takeover. We have Why We Love. We have, you know, all sorts of different things. And it doesn't have to be a Why We Love thing. It doesn't have to be between you and me. It could be me and AJ. It could be me and Dave Station. It could be.
How about a whole new show?
It go, God, somebody shoot me. Yeah, and if you want to edit and produce that show, then by all means, Dark Cool. Maybe we can set that up.
And then host it on your own channel and get your own subscribers.
Hey, wait a minute.
Wait, what?
Hold on. Suddenly, I just became interested in starting a new channel. I mean, a new show on this channel. But so that's the thing. It's like, you know, we're definitely you know, we're always pushing out as much content as we possibly can, as long as, you know, keeping up the level of quality. Yep. But man, like I think we're sort of at max output right now. I love the idea for the show. I would love to like find a co-host that like I could like, you know, you choose one game and I choose the other, and we like duke it out. You know, like we have this like battle. But man, like right now, I just don't even know when we'd have time for that. Yeah. I love the idea though, and I think that like maybe, you know, we can do these occasionally on Why We Love if we've played both games. But yeah, no, but definitely Wipeout and Killing Floor. Nice.
Yeah.
So easy.
Actually, you know, out of all those 4 games, just Wipeout.
There you go.
Yeah.
Killing Floor got recently much better.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, you guys. The little red light is blinking, which means we're almost out of memory card space. I don't know how that happened. We filmed way too long today.
Yeah.
Listen, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you ask your viewer takeover questions in the comments below. #viewer takeover or on our Discord server. Click the link in the description and leave them in the viewer takeover channel. Also, change your name to GameCat and leave us a comment with the #GameCat so we can give you a shout out on next week's episode. Also, head on over to patreon.com/withoutparole.
Games.
And give us $1 or more every single month. Show your support that way as well. If you can handle that financially, we would forever love you for it. For another episode of Viewer Takeover, I'm Brian Paul, and that's Desert the Strange, and we will see you next week.
Adios. Goodbye.
Why are we always doing this waving thing?
I don't know. I like waving.
Waving.
Waving's nice.
Waving. A little under
Why
the
is
table
there
wave.
something? Do you see that? Like in the middle of the screen?
Like this right here?
The green light that's blinking?
In the middle of the screen?
Yeah.
In the middle of the screen?